Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our 2019 Education Webinar Series. Today's webinar will be on Smart Ink and how it works with the internet, Microsoft Office, PDF, and other applications. My name is Rob Mayer. I am the ANZ Channel Manager for Smart Technologies, and I welcome you to this afternoon's session. So let's get right underway. What is Smart Ink? What does it mean? Smart Ink is an application provided by Smart with the software that you download for your board. It's not provided by Windows or Microsoft. It's part of Smart Learning Suite or Meeting Pro if you're a corporate user, and it allows you to ink over third-party applications, not just within Smart software, but essentially any application that you can think of. It's not an overlay. It doesn't provide a layer on top of the screen. It doesn't lock your screen to allow you to annotate. It doesn't generate any special inking modes. It simply allows you to mark up the content that you can see on the screen. It does provide some integration into specific applications like Microsoft Office and PDFs, and that's going to allow you to maintain the same behavior of making changes and editing the documents as you currently do right now at your desk, meaning that your ability to work with your smartboard and Office and PDF applications doesn't change from what you already know. So it keeps it very simple and straightforward. And there's some simple customization that you can do on the fly if you want to make changes, personalize, add tools that you find particularly useful. And we will have a look at those as we go through the session today. So what's the objective of Smart Ink? Well, we want it to be consistent. We want the experience to be consistent no matter where and when you use it. We want your behavior to not change so that once you understand how to use Smart Ink, you can use it in absolutely any program whatsoever. We want it to be a natural experience. If you've ever used digital ink on an interactive display or a tablet, you might have noticed that it's not traditionally a very natural experience. The ink doesn't feel like you're writing on a regular whiteboard. Smart go to quite a degree of trouble to make sure that the annotation experience is very natural and comfortable. The ink has a smoothing element to it so that it appears very clean on the screen. It allows you to work with other colleagues at the same time so that you can share your ability to annotate on the display without interrupting each other. And that also means that it's quite intuitive. So if you pick up a pen off the pen tray and start writing, then you get ink, as you would expect. If you pick up a red pen, then you get red ink, again, as you would expect. If you're writing in red and a colleague picks up a blue pen and starts writing, well, they get blue. Again, as you would expect, although surprisingly uncommon in terms of the programs and products that exist in the marketplace. And of course, if you grab the eraser or turn the pen around and rub it out, you get your erase function. So the board knows what you're doing. Smart Ink talks to your smartboard and means that you can interact with your content without having to constantly go to menus and say, this is the function that I want, this is the behavior that I need to turn it on or I need to turn it off. And it's universal. So we want to make sure that the same tools and the same behavior occurs no matter what the application is that you're using, whether it's a common program to everybody or whether it's an application that you've designed internally just for your organization. The experience should be exactly the same and you should have the same functionality no matter where you are. So let's give you some examples to start with of how Smart Ink works. And we'll look at some common programs like the internet, we'll look at video files, we'll look at YouTube and show you how that experience is consistent, it's intuitive, and it's universal regardless of where you use it. And most importantly, it's simple as well. So let's look firstly at Internet and Internet Explorer. So I've opened an Explorer page here. I can use my mouse to move the page, and if I pick up a pen to annotate, I'll grab a red pen and we'll talk about the distance here between Darwin and PNG, and the major ports, and the direction of traffic as shipping would come down through these particular regions. So we can mark up that page. Whichever pen color I choose is the pen color that I get on the screen. So I'm writing over the top of an internet page at the moment. If I choose my eraser, then I can rub out that ink or make my annotations on the page. So very, very straightforward. Something interesting about Internet Explorer, if that's your browser of choice, is that as you move it around, you can actually hold your annotations where they are on the page. If I jump over to Chrome as another browser choice, then once again, we will pick up a pen, we'll talk about a particular aspect of the page, make a note on that topic there, and you'll see that the ink will appear on the screen. It does not lock my page in any way, so I'm able to move the page around, and you'll see that I can still interact with the content that's on the screen. If I jump to a different tab, this time I'm on a YouTube page, and so I might choose to run a video. So you'll see the video playing here. Grab a pen, mark up the video. I might pause the video at a particular point. And once again, I can use my pen to focus on a particular concept of how we're going to answer those questions. Make my notes on the page, show how we're doing a pairing exercise here. And regardless of the content, whether it's a straightforward internet page or whether it's video, you'll see that I'm able to pick up my pen, annotate over the page, and show understanding or draw your attention or focus to a specific aspect of that content. And the same thing would apply if I went to a video file. So let's say I jump across here, open up my videos folder. Any application that you can run on the computer, once again, we can play and annotate over the top here. So I'll pause my video. I might just move it to a particular area. And again, I'll grab my red pen. We will talk about a particular component to the page there. And we will be able to mark up that content on the screen. Now let's jump across to the toolbar that's available for you. So Smart Ink is essentially as simple as picking up a pen off your pen tray and annotating on the screen. And what you get will be a toolbar that you can see here that is customizable. In fact, it's actually floating on my screen down the bottom here at the moment. And that gives you some options to be able to customize the behavior of the content on the screen. So if I were to tap on that, currently I'm in pen mode and I've chosen the red pen, but you can make customizations. So I can choose a highlighter option if I wish. I can change the thickness of the pen, and I can choose any particular color on the spectrum that I would like to use, and you'll see it'll make that adjustment. It will just be for the time that you're using that particular stylus. When you dock it back on the smart board, it will reset back to its original color. Otherwise, you'd be left with picking up a green pen, but you're actually getting a yellow highlighter. So you want to have the consistency, but you can change it on the fly. You all are also able to access some common presentation tools as part of this menu. And so here we can use a tool like a spotlight, for example, where I'm able to move that spotlight around the screen, focus on a particular area of the page just to highlight content as you can see it. I can also use a magnifier on the page so we can focus on a particular area and blow that size up. There is a screen shade so that you can choose to only reveal what you want people to see at any particular juncture rather than revealing the entire page at one time. And there's also quick access to a camera icon. And the camera allows you to capture content that's on the page and save it back to a whiteboard or another particular application. So we'll do that in just a moment. And you've got an ability to annotate into a window, turning your pen annotations into text. So we can write on the screen here. Pause for a second and you'll see those annotations will convert to text, and you can choose an area that you would like to place them onto the screen, potentially filling in the address of a website or adding in content into a particular field. So some shortcut tools there to allow you to interact with the pen or the common functions that come on the smartboard for display. Smart Ink is persistent. So by that, I mean that it stays with the application without you having to instruct that you want to hold the annotations on the page. You don't have to decide what to do as you jump in and out of programs. So right now I'm using Smart Notebook. And of course, as I write on the screen, the ink stays on the page. Let's just write that correctly. The ink stays on the page. You can see it there because I'm writing directly into my whiteboard page. But what about the other applications that I was using previously? What's happened to the ink on those applications? So let's just jump back and have a look. If we go back to Chrome, you will see here that the annotations that I was writing over YouTube are still there on the page. If I change my tab and go back to this website, once again, you can see the annotations that are showing there. If I jump over to Internet Explorer, again, the annotations are on the screen. So I haven't lost everything. Even though I have moved away from that program or changed the tab to go to another part of it, minimized it, potentially moved it around the screen, once again, you will see that I am able to interact. You can see my annotations there just on the side. I haven't lost any of the content that I was working with before. So that's what I mean by persistent. The ink stays with the application and you will not lose any annotations unless you specifically close down that program. In the same way that if you've made changes to a document, you don't lose those changes just by minimizing or going to a different application. You'll only lose them if you close that application down. So rest assured that you can jump in and out of different applications and Smart Ink will stay there on the screen. You will not lose any content or any annotations that you have made. Now, what if you want to capture and save content that you've written into a different program? There is a capture toolbar on Smart Notebook. It's actually showing at the top of my screen here on the toolbar at the very top of the page there. It's indicated by that camera icon. In Notebook, if you don't see that option there on your toolbar, you can simply right-click in a blank area of the toolbar and it will bring up the option to customize your toolbar. And as I scroll down, you'll see that there's lots of various tools that I can add to the toolbar to customize it to the behavior that I want. And screen capture is currently on the third line, second one across from the left. And you simply drag that tool up onto the toolbar and it will add it there for you. But it should be there as a default. So you can access this capture toolbar by clicking on that application and it will put it down into the tray for you at the bottom. You can see it just showing down at the very bottom there, and it's also a floating menu here. So if I were to go back to, let's say, my Google map here and I wanted to capture part of that page, I can click a camera icon and choose the method by which I'd like to capture. And so the options on the screen are capture as a draw a box around a particular area, capture as a window, capture the entire page, or a freehand capture, so whatever shape you would like. In this case, I am going to choose the box. So I will cut out the area of relevance. When I do, it gives me a little prompt and says, look, this is the area you've captured. What would you like to do with it? The default at the moment is send it to the current page within Notebook, or I've got the ability to send to a new page, so it will automatically create a new page in my Notebook file. I have Smart Meeting Pro, which is the corporate whiteboard program installed on my computer as well. So it gives me that choice. And then I can choose other things like saving to the desktop, nominate an area on the computer, or put it into the clipboard. So what I'll do is I'll actually save it to a new page so I don't disturb the page that I'm on. And you'll now see it's added that content as an image on a brand new page within my whiteboard. So very easy and simple to capture. The other way to do it is if I have my pen tool in my hand, and you might be able to see this little pen, red pen icon that's just floating on the screen. That appears whenever you pick up a pen. That was your toolbar to customize. If I tap on that and go to the toolbox options, you'll also see on the second row the camera icon. Once again, I've got a shortcut there to the capture tools to allow me to capture an area, or let's say it is the entire page. So we'll capture that. Where do I want it to go? Again, we'll add it to a new page in my whiteboard. And that's done for me. So when I go back to my whiteboard software, there we see it as a brand new page. And the full screen capture this time rather than the cutout content. So that is how you capture from programs that you can't save to. For example, the internet, or the desktop, or Windows Explorer, or a piece of software that you've designed yourself for internal use. Perhaps a game that you're running on the screen, something that you can't write directly into. Now, there are a couple of applications where your behavior can be a little bit richer. And that's where we talk about saving into an application as opposed to on top of. So as I said, Smart Ink is a consistent experience. Regardless of the program, you pick up the pen, you start writing. You choose the color, you get the ink that you want. You turn the pen around, you can erase. One person can pick up the red pen, one person can pick up the black pen, and you can annotate at the same time. That is consistent regardless of where you are. However, certain programs these days come supplied with ink tools built into them. And so the Smartboard software has been given the ability to talk to those tools and allow them to use the inking from that specific application. And we'll start by showing you PDF. So I'll open a PDF here. And the first example I have is a floor plan. So you can see the floor plan on the screen here. I can zoom in to a more detailed level. I can move that around. Let's go one more level down. And we want to mark up this page. And what are we going to say? We are going to look at the shelving that we can see here. And we need to increase the shelving by 2 times. So we're actually going to expand this upwards and make that whole area shelving. Plus, in the next room, we've decided that we need double doors. So we're going to add an additional door here that we didn't have previously. So we'll mark up that content. So I'm writing in what appears to be over the top of the page. If I pick up a different pen color and say that we will remove one of these water tanks because that's now going to become storage, again, we can write over that. So behavior is quite easy and consistent at the moment. Pick up a pen and write. Now what I'll do is I'll go back to using my finger as the mouse and I'll move the page. And you can see that the ink is following the page around. So it's staying in that particular area. If I choose to magnify the document, you will see that the ink is scaling with the application. Same thing if I were to reduce the overall size of the document. The ink scales with that application. I can erase, as you would expect, pick up my eraser and rub out that second door that we put on the screen. So simple, easy interactions there. But now the most important aspect of all is that when I'm done and I choose to save the document, it will save as a PDF file, as the original file. So if you remember before, when we were annotating over the top of the internet, the only way that I can capture my ink is to take a photo of that content and it will save it back to my whiteboard. By being able to use the inking tools that exist within PDF, it then means that I'm now able to save as that original document. And so therefore, I can send this out to people with the original file format rather than having to copy and paste it into another application. And that same set of rules applies to Microsoft Office documents. Actually, I did have one other PDF example to show you that I think is also relevant. In this case, it's a document. So this could be an English example where you're identifying verbs and nouns. Here it might be where we're working through a particular application and saying, well, what would you change in this instance? So let's scroll this document and saying, within this particular file, we would say that the language here in terms of where we say length of relationship, that needs to change, and I want to make an adjustment to that. We don't have any advisors or contractors, so we will rub that out. Point 4, very important, this is a non-exclusive agreement. So important things to put in there. Once again, as I scroll the page, the ink follows the page. As I jump to the second page, we can talk about, all right, you agree with this particular thing, so we want you to make a signature there, write your name on the document here and your title and so forth. So you can actually work to mark up the document with somebody potentially as a scope. Go back to the previous page, you will see that the content and the annotation still exist, and I can save that as a PDF document. If I jump over to my example in PowerPoint, so here we will go full screen onto PowerPoint. I will pick up a pen. Actually, let's change the page. We'll talk about a new software application that we call Teamworks. It has a calendar that you can see here on the front screen. So very easy for me to use the tools to mark up a document as I'm presenting. As I change my page and go on to another page, the ink follows that page. So it doesn't interfere with what I'm doing. When I go back to the previous page, you'll see my annotations still exist on there. When I'm done, you'll see the annotations showing on that page. And if I go to close the document, it will say, you've made a change to this. Do you wish to save it? I can simply save it and then present this to colleagues as a PowerPoint with the annotations marked up, or you might choose to go File and Save As. So your original is protected, but you've now got a copy of today's presentation with your annotations there. Have a think about what behaviors needed to change. You simply open the application, stop at the page you want to mark up, lift the pen and annotate. When you're done, if you want to keep your annotations, hit save. If you don't hit save and close the program down. These tools are allowing you to save directly into the program rather than forcing you to take images and write on top of it. Another quick example just from a Microsoft perspective is the ability to write into the document. So here I can pick up a pen, we can look at the numbers that you can see, talk about how they might correlate to a specific area on the screen here, and again, update this Excel spreadsheet. If I click on those annotations, you can see they're already an image. So what's happening is when you pick up a smartboard pen, it's talking to this program and saying, use the ink that is within your application. You might even notice at the top of the screen, it's opened an ink menu by default, and I can then go and choose a different color, and I can change my annotations to red, or I can use a highlighter and so forth. But importantly, when I'm done, when I close the application, I can save it. And in this case, I would be saving it as a spreadsheet so that when I send this to other people, all they need is Excel to be able to open it, and all the formulas and all the other applications still work as normal. A couple of quick questions. Does Smart Ink work in IQ? So for those of you that don't know what IQ is, All current series smartboards ship with an internal appliance, basically an Android computer built into the board that gives you functions when you don't have a computer connected. For example, you can use a whiteboard, you can browse the internet, and there is an ability to screen share. So you can send images from your phone or tablet or PC to the screen. In each of those applications, there is an ink capability. It's not Smart Ink, but it does have the ability to annotate. You can pick up a pen and you can write. You can annotate over the internet, and you can also annotate over the top of the screen share, and you can save those annotations as a PDF. So there is inking capability. It is consistent in terms of pick up a pen and write, pick up whichever color and get that ink. Multiple people can annotate or erase at the same time. But it's not as rich as the Smart Ink experience that you would have on your computer in terms of being able to talk to applications like PowerPoint and Word and PDF. So as a summary, Smart Ink comes provided with your smartboard software. It's installed automatically when you install smart software on your computer. It's always there. When you pick up a pen, it triggers automatically, and it gives you that consistent ability to be able to annotate over any application, any third-party application, and not just in smartboard software. So it's consistent across the board. It doesn't lock the screen down. It means you can still interact with the content that's on the page. Third-party programs like the internet or Explorer or other applications that you might have installed on your computer will allow you to annotate over the top, and then you will always have that camera capability to be able to take a snapshot of the content and save it back to a particular application or directly into your whiteboard software. However, the ability exists for the software to be able to talk to Microsoft Office and PDF because they have inking tools built into them. So you can write directly into those programs. And that means you can save your markups directly as the original file, not having to take copies of it. You can still take a captured image using that camera function that exists within Notebook. That will still work for you, but this is a simple facility to save it as its original file format. And of course, you've got the ability to customize by using that floating toolbar that we've showed you there on the screen. For further information on Smart Ink, you can go through to Smart Support area of our website just by clicking on Support and then choosing the product that you're interested in. In this case, it would be Smart Notebook. There is a shortcut for you to do that, and that would be within the Notebook menu. So if you have a look at the top of the screen and click on Help, you'll actually see the first option there, Smart Notebook Help. And when I click on that, it'll open your default browser and take you straight through to our help page for Smart Notebook. And here you'll find lesson information, you'll find instructions on specific features within it, quick start guides, and what's really valuable is if you click on training and videos, it will take you to a very large number of video files that will show you information on how to get started, how to create lessons, doing basic activities, game-based content, assessments, and so forth, all in little 2 or 3 minute videos that you can have a look through. Lastly, if you'd like to get in touch with any of us, we'd love to hear from you at any stage. If you've got questions or anything you're unclear on, you can email us on ANZenquiries@smarttech.com. Or if you'd like information on smart products, there's a sales line there, 1300 165 312, and a support line if you would like any technical support. That ends our session today. Thank you very much for your time and attendance. I hope you got some valuable information from it, and we look forward to talking to you again on our next webinar. Bye for now.